As search efforts continue in Venezuela, one local family is answering that crisis with action. News Channel 7's Valentina Gaspari shows us how you can help.
While rescue crews in Venezuela continue to search for survivors after the back-to-back earthquakes, one local family in Panama City is doing their best to support their community from afar. Outside of the Woodlawn Church with the Venezuelan flag waving in the wind and posters of inspiration on the table, Adriana Sanguinetti and her family are hoping help pulls in.
Es algo terrible que está pasando en mi país.
In Spanish, Adriana says it's heartbreaking to see what's happening in her country. CNN reports more than 1,400 people have died and many more are still missing following the natural disaster last Wednesday, and the death toll is expected to rise. Throughout the day, visitors dropped off water, canned goods, and other supplies. Any donation is accepted, but clothing, diapers, first aid kits, and dog food are mostly needed at this time. Sanguinetti says her family in Venezuela is safe, but still shaken after the tragedy. That's why every donation hits close to home. Because it is our country, it is our people. We have been in this country for a very long time, and not being there hurts a lot, not being there directly helping. But this is a way to help. Adriana says your support can make a meaningful difference for Venezuelans in the country at this time. If you would like to help, you can donate items tomorrow at the Emerald Coast CrossFit from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Panama City, Valentina Gaspari, News Channel 7.
The family says they'll be delivering the donations to a company in Orlando on Monday. That company will then travel to Venezuela to drop off all the items collected.